Moving through Silent Hill often defies basic concepts of what a town even is, evidenced by the enormous fences cloaked in dirty sheets that abruptly end some avenues. They look as though they exist to quarantine the town from the outside world, but the thick fog envelops so much of the space that it also immediately and ceaselessly feels like no other place possibly exists. The space that it also immediately and ceaselessly feels like no other place possibly exists.
Hype beats highly likely to bite me and try to high-five me, but I just give them high threes, cause y'all don't get to touch me on the shit. Sue me if you got an issue, grab a tissue. Media.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
This is not your time. Now, sashay away. This is not your time. Now, sashay away.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino.
Hey, you think I'd look good in this one?
Sure.
Not quite the ringing endorsement, but hey, I'll take it.
Prison garbs, and then you evolve to the Task Force X outfits.
Yeah, right.
Not in a million years.
This is bad comedy.
Every time they do this, they're telling you they fucked it up. When a team takes over a beloved property, either through a reboot or a remake, and they remove something essential in their version, they're telling you they fucked it up. So they'll do this thing like, hey, we have changed Maria's design, and we're going to refer to that in an Easter egg in our version, and we're going to go, haha, lighten up, Chud. We know what was in the original. We know it just as well as you do, and we love it too. But we understand in this day and age, we have to make improvements. We're changing things for the better. Haha, that's what they're doing. They fucked it up. I know that's what they've done with Silent Hill 2 Electric Boogaloo. Now, the game has gotten good reviews. I really don't care. Now, I did watch GameSpot's and IGN's when they dropped. A lot of those reviews dropped in the middle of the night. And I was up, so I watched. And the thing about them, they were both gushing, but they were saying things that didn't make sense. Now, I'm not surprised that they were gushing and that the reviews overall are really good, because as soon as people saw Angela's design and everybody started clowning it, I knew that the journos would start circling the wagons. I knew that the shills would start to circle the wagons in order to protect Bloober Team. Even though they've hated Bloober Team in the past, now that people are saying, hey, Angela looks terrible, Maria looks terrible, and then Konami goes, we're remaking this for modern audiences. When that happened, I knew, yeah, this is going to get good reviews, whether it's good or not. And in the case of GameSpot and IGN in particular, because I watched these reviews, what bothers me so much is that, yeah, they gush about it, and they're saying things that, yeah, it sounds good, game looks good in a lot of ways, but they're saying things that don't make sense if you played the original game and supposedly love the game and know why the original is considered a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece, but if you know that about the game and you're looking at this remake and you're praising it and you're not even mentioning how this remake really differs from the original in some important ways that automatically downgrades it, then I don't know what you're doing. Now, I don't expect them to spoil the game in any way. So, okay, I'm going to spoil certain things about the games, but one of the things they talked about that just doesn't make sense as a positive versus the original is improved combat. But the combat isn't improved. It's just changed. The original game is not meant to be a third-person shooter. It's never meant to be that. It's awkward in a lot of ways on purpose because James is just a regular guy, and this is not that kind of action game. That's part of the tension of struggling with these monstrosities. You're not going to be wiping out these things so easily, especially if you get into what these things represent. These are things you're overcoming as you're trying to go through Silent Hill to find your dead wife, right? Them saying, oh, it's so much more improved, it's ridiculous. But I don't have a problem with them liking that. I don't even have a problem with Bloober Team changing the combat. Maybe the dodge button might be a bit too much, but I think the praise that really doesn't make sense is they talk about improved voice acting. But that's insane, because if you played the original and love the original, you know that one of the main points and one of the main things that makes the original so great is the voice acting, is the way that the lines are delivered, is the dialogue. One of the main inspirations for Silent Hill 2 is David Lynch. David Lynch doesn't have a very natural style. It's very surrealistic. And one of the main points of the way people talk and act is that it's off kilter. It's that it's surrealistic. These people are trapped in this nightmare universe, this dreamscape. So the IGN guy in particular says, hey, the voice acting is so much better, but they didn't change the dialogue. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of off. I said, yes, stupid. That's because the dialogue was meant to be delivered in a particular way. For you to say that this more modern, I don't mean modern audience, but this more sort of modern, more typical way of acting is better is ridiculous, because it doesn't fit the mood and the tone of what the game was supposed to be going for. And you can see that in something like the aftermath of the Abstract Daddy boss fight. You compare those two scenes, it's...
Okay, Angela. It's okay. Calm down.
Don't order me around!
I'm not, It's okay. It's over.
Don't even try.
Try what?
Like you don't know.
Angela, relax.
Don't order me around!
I see what you're doing.
I'm not trying to order you.
So it's the same with you. You're only after one thing.
Oh, I see.
Angela,
You're
please.
trying to be nice to me, right?
You don't have to lie.
I know what you're up to. It's always the same.
Go ahead.
You're only after one
Say
thing.
No, that's not true at all.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it. Or you could just force me. Beat me up like you always did.
You disgusting.
You wouldn't care about yourself anyway. You disgusting pig.
I hate you. I hate you.
Angela.
Don't touch me.
I don't know who you think I am,
You make
but
me
I don't
sick.
hurt you. I just want to get my Mary back.
A big problem with this so-called improved acting is the fact that James is just too emotional. That's something that I've been talking about since the first trailer, where he kicks the bathroom door open. Stupid. Now, they changed that, it seems. The game just starts with him just staring at the mirror like it should. Still a little too overly dramatic and melodramatic, but it's better than him kicking the door down and running in there. And people defending that, saying, well, if that was me, I would be doing it. No, stupid. This is not about you. This is about what James did. It's not about what you would have done. This is about what James actually did. And it doesn't improve it by making it more emotional, when a big point of Silent Hill is that it's revealing things that you've tried to bury and to hide. So James is dissociated. So he talks to people in the original the way he does. And he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. Despite everything that he's going through, he still has time for other people. Now, he has emotions. He gets annoyed. He gets upset. He gets angry a lot at Laura. He's disturbed and devastated when Maria, the different times Maria gets killed. And then later on, he goes, well, anyway, when he sees her anyway, let's go do, it's because he's dissociated. So yeah, he's supposed to sound off. And so him talking to Angela the way he does in original makes sense for what the story is telling you and what it's doing, making him more exhausted and worn out and more, I'm just trying to find my Mary. All that stuff doesn't work. It doesn't work. People defend it now because of their conception of art. Everything is supposed to be practical and real. And just look at the way both versions deliver the I never.
You're Mary. Your own little Mary.
You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
Yes.
At least she was.
She was ill.
know about you. You didn't want her around anymore.
What?
You probably found someone else.
Admit it. You didn't want her around anymore.
That's ridiculous. I never...
No.
You probably found someone else.
No.
I need to find my mama.
I never.
They had to show this idiot's face. It's like in a lot of superhero films where they constantly take the hero's mask off because they want the audience to see his face. So stupid. It's like acting is more than just looking at this guy's stupid expression or whatever. You can listen to his voice. You can watch his body language. A lot of times if somebody is just still, you can think and get a lot from just that. Your own imagination and your own interpretation will take over for the story. You don't have to just show his face. And I hate James's face in this as it is. He looks so soy. He looks like he's about to cry every 10 seconds. I hate it. Yeah, it's just dumb. And the fact that they removed the "that's ridiculous" part from the line really doesn't make sense, because it's like, okay, the whole "that's ridiculous" is part of him saying "I never." He's denying something that Silent Hill is telling him. He's trying to suppress it and push it down. It's like, that's ridiculous. Like, it makes no sense that you would say something like that. I never. No, he's not facing something. I don't know why they removed it. And then I don't even know why she doesn't close the door. It's like, we just have to be different. We just have to do this our way. This is better because now we're doing it. And she closed the door the first time. This time she's not going to close the door. We got you. There's a twist. Stupid. That's the big problem with reboots and remakes, how the teams that take these properties over always take away what made the original special. It's not just that they just can't recreate it. Like, it's hard to capture or recapture lightning in a bottle, something like that. It's not that. It's like they go out of their way not to recreate what made the original special. They always make these choices where everything is more realistic, more bland, more prosaic. I don't know why. In the before times, before the culture war, before this woke stuff, it seemed to just be down to the fact that the people working in Hollywood or whatever just aren't as talented as the people on these original properties. And for whatever reason, studios and producers always seem to hire people who openly hates the original work, and they'd rather be working on something else. So they would just put their own boring spin on whatever that they were working on. It's crazy, but they did that all the time. And now, though, with something like Bloober Team, I think what happened is they do love the original Silent Hill 2, and you see it in a lot of their earlier games. Now, I don't know if those people who really love this stuff are still at Bloober Team. Maybe a lot of them left, and maybe they don't feel the same way as they did about Silent Hill 2, but I think they do. I think what the real problem is that Bloober Team was burned by the backlash to a lot of their earlier games, particularly the medium, and the way overly anxious narcissists made their story of assault about their own experiences. So the people complaining, saw this story about assault that the medium was about, essentially, and they got mad, they got triggered, they got upset, and they said, why would you make a game like this where you're talking about assault in this way and you're not being sensitive to what I went through? And this made me uncomfortable. And I've talked about this before, where being uncomfortable is the point to horror. So attacking a game dev for making something uncomfortable is absurd. And so I don't know, but I think that's a big part of it. And I think that they went and hired a consultancy group, or maybe Konami made them hire one so that they could do a better job at writing for a modern audience, right? Not for the actual audience, but for people who would complain on Twitter or on YouTube, right? Social media types who would complain about this. But this time, the consultancy group in question isn't Sweet Baby Inc., but another group called Hit Detection. Surprise! I consulted on the Silent Hill 2 remake. I had a really great experience working with the team. Because of this, I won't really be talking about the game publicly. Have fun figuring out your own takes.
Please don't sell it. I'm coming back to America to take charge. I think it would be fun to run a newspaper. I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
Have fun figuring out your own takes. That's a passive-aggressive way of saying, don't listen to the chuds who hate consultancy groups like us. Like I said, this isn't Sweet Baby Inc., but they definitely have assholes on their team. So here's another tweet people found from this Jacob Geller's guy. This is from a few years ago. Somebody originally said, he quote retweeted this guy named Bijan. I'm curious, what's the dumbest idea you have that you nevertheless believe will, if implemented, make the world a better place? And this Jacob Geller guy, this hit detection employee or whatever, says, no gamers. And I saw people say, oh, he was just joking. Apparently this guy, Jacob Geller, has a big YouTube channel where he talks about games. And they're like, oh, he loves games and gaming. He does all kinds of videos about it. But that's the problem you see with a lot of these people who are in gaming now. They're working in it, but they hate the customer base. You look at a lot of these game journals, and they're not actually working in the games industry. They're adjacent to it as in the media, but they clearly hate games and they hate gamers. And they're trying to clean it up and they're trying to take it away from the core audience. It's insane because it's like, you don't belong here. You're mad at something and you're mad at the people in this hobby that you've infiltrated. You've come into it and you're acting as if the fan base, the customer base are the problem when you're the problem because you're literally trying to change it. It's like, missionaries going into Africa or something and changing those people's entire culture so they can become Christian or something. That's essentially what you're doing with gamers, and you're getting mad that these savages are not accepting your ideological God or something. It's nuts. It's truly nuts. But this is what the culture war is about. And they say it's not a culture war, but they spend all their time yelling at the people whose culture they're trying to take over. We're not supposed to fight it. We're supposed to just accept it.
Yeah, right.
Not in a million years.
Despite the good reviews, the game doesn't seem to be doing all that well. It's popular on YouTube where it appears to be, and I noticed that if anybody criticizes the game, you'll get a handful of weirdos in the comments getting mad at people for criticizing it and pretending like they don't understand what the criticism is all about. Now, I hope these idiots are actually playing the game because there doesn't seem to be that many. I'm not sure if Silent Hill is just destined to be more of a cult classic thing, or if this is more of a situation where fans of the original, true fans, can't look past what Bloober Team actually did with the game. So now you get this headline from That Park Place from like a week ago at the time of this recording. Konami deletes post announcing Silent Hill 2 Remake was designed for modern audiences. Now, I have no idea why they deleted that tweet. People have been clowning on that tweet for months now. I don't know what made them suddenly do it now. I don't know if they looked at the early sales numbers. It was like, oh shit, let's hurry up and get rid of this before people have something to attack this game over. I don't know if they were burned because of the Dead Rising remake. I don't know, or remaster, whatever was going on with that Dead Rising game. But they deleted it. It doesn't matter because all you have to do is look at Angela and Maria and you know that, yes, this game was made for modern audiences. Now, I saw Endymion TV talk about this recently. He's been doing a bunch of videos, good videos, on talking to these insiders at Ubisoft who've been saying things like, hey, despite the backlash to woke in the agenda, a lot of these devs, not just at Ubisoft, but all over the gaming community, they still intend to put this woke shit and this DEI shit in their games. They're just going to try to be slick about it now and promote it as if it's just a regular game. And they're not going to let on to the fact that we have activists at our companies pushing the usual bullshit. Now, my thing is, the problem with that, because Endymion was like, they're going to try to hide it from us. We got to be vigilant and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, sure, but it's really not going to be that hard. It's like I said with the Cabrutus list, the Steam detected list, and now his DEI detected list. You don't really need these lists. All you have to do, because these idiot activists can't help themselves, is just look at the women. Look at the trailer and look at how the women look. Now, unless they start doing this thing where they make the women look like Eve or Freya or Luna or something, and then when you get the game, they patch them to look like MJ. Can you imagine that day one patch? That would be, talk about a bait and switch. That would be worse than what happened with Skullgirls. But again, no matter how much these publishers and these devs and these studios try to hide their agenda and their messaging and their promos, all you have to do ultimately is look at the women, because all they're trying to do is defeat the male gaze with these female characters. It's ridiculous. And you look at something like Silent Hill 2, the remake, it goes beyond just them trying to defeat the male gaze by making these deliberately ugly women. They're literally destroying the point, the theme of the original game.